Big Sam, King Sam.
Yeah, we started. We going. We rolling. I look good. I know cameras for forever.
The last time that we linked up
Yes.
was 2 years ago. A lot's changed.
Well, you also got to count the Sound Advice Barbershop Talk. Like that was some good conversation.
That was great conversation.
Yeah.
And it's always great to link up with you and just have a conversation. That's why we've been talking for the last 40 minutes while recording and we ain't even started yet.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I feel like at this point with Sound Advice dropping, I feel like now I think I know you more than I did before.
Word.
And I knew the fundamentals. I knew that, you know, God comes first, family is next in line, and then it's yourself. I always knew that's the type that you were. But now it's like, and I told you this before, it's like listening to your music, I forget that you even have a mom. You know what I'm saying? Like you forget that, you know what I'm saying? Like Sam didn't come out 6'1", you know what I'm saying? 6'2", 170, 180, whatever.
214. See, now you're gonna have little niggas thinking they can run up on me. They're gonna think I'm not that big. I'm joking.
If you 214, I don't see it. But anyway, like you don't think about that stuff like that. So then like when we sit down and had a barbershop talk and I'm hearing like your story, it makes so much more sense. It's like, that's where that maturity, that's where that growth came from.
Word.
So like now at this place in 2020, where do you see yourself?
Man, I see myself just getting started. Like I think I've been through life. Like I think we all do, right? I think the trials and tribulations we go through in life really shape and form who we are. I had I don't know if it's a luxury or generational curses, whatever, but to go through different trials, right? Different traumas, right? And we all, like I said, we all have different trials and traumas, but it's all relative to our specific situation. And I think a lot of things that I've been through helped me mature, right? From things early on when wifey was just baby mama, when we was going through learning who we are as individuals, recognizing that my mom, I think you said it the best on our Sound Advice Talk, recognizing our moms, our parents even, were 20 years old before. Like you say, you forget, I got a mom. Like it's easy to forget, like, yo, mom's really had to go through some shit before she got to who she is now. So just recognizing a lot of those things while being a husband and being a parent and respecting those things. Even like I got hella gray hair. I like to joke and say I got a mad old soul. Like this is more wisdom than stress, right? But like my mom's was 28 when I was born. My pops was 68. So I like to think, never met pops, but I think some of that wisdom was passed down, and I got hella sisters, 6 sisters, 7 sisters that's all older than me, and a brother that's older than me. And we didn't have a lot of conversations when I was a kid, but I just think that a lot of that spirit may have been passed down in some respect to allow me to mature and, in retrospect, be where I am now, where I never thought I'd be 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Do you think that you not getting a chance to have a father made you the father that you are today?
I think it made me every piece of the father I am today, right? Of course, we all got different father figures, coaches. My uncle was like one of the biggest father figure I had, like, rest in peace, Unc. I also had like a godfather, stepdad, whatever you want to call him, that was in and out for quite some time growing up, right? But I definitely always think that as parents, we raise our kids two ways, either the exact same way our parents raised us and we take everything they taught us, or almost out of resentment, where it's like, hey, I ain't like that, so I got to do these things the opposite way.
Do you think the resentment's in the forefront? Do you think there's kind of resentment first and then it's the other way? Because
I think so.
I catch myself doing things that like my parents said or even like did or whatever, and don't even realize it until after it happens. It's like, oh wow, never thought that would come out.
I think you're trained a certain way. So you train, I mean, just belief systems, right? You're given a certain belief system as you grow and you stuck in that. And it takes a certain level of maturity, a certain level of curiosity, even, and trust to be able to shy away from it and be like, you know what, maybe what I was taught wasn't right, right? Or maybe I don't have to do things this way. Like whooping kids. My son got his very first whooping. He's 7 now. He got his very first whooping like last year.
And how did he take that?
he took it. I mean, he had no choice but to take it. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to get a whooping again. But growing up, right, our parents whooped us, right? It's gonna hurt you more. It's gonna hurt me more, and it's gonna hurt you.
Right.
Shut up before I give you something to cry about. It was really a thing where you do something wrong, and there wasn't a lesson behind it.
No, it's a punishment.
It was a punishment behind it, right? And I just always remember having that. I won't say resentment, but always having that thought with my kids, like, there's no way that I'm gonna beat your ass before I teach you.
That's how Black people are treated in the world, though. And so, when we are faced with, we don't get a lesson. Our lesson has to come through the pain. And I think that's something that Black families and, Black parents apply still. That's why, go get the switch on the tree. Like, why do I have to go get the murder weapon?
I gotta go get the stick.
You feel me? Like, it don't make sense.
I think a lot of it is it's just generational. And I definitely recognize that Black, African American, whatever phrase you want to use. I don't even like African American because my people we might have been Caribbean. But but there is a generalization there. But I also think that's with any demographic that's like held back, oppressed in some respect. Like you fight for survival. You don't fight to live, you fight to survive.
Right.
And for the longest, we've had pockets of Black culture, Black people who have fought to survive. You also have a lot that have made it out. Right, I think we have quite a few pockets in our communities that are on the other side, right? That do see things a little bit different. But poverty is another thing, right? Which I continue to dig all the way there. But I think a lot of that is just that recognizing, okay, do I want to survive or do I want to live?
Right.
Do I want to teach my kids to, like the way I teach my son to interact with police officers is different than the way my mama taught me. Got into a funny back and forth with my wife and my cousin one time because I'm like, I want my kids to feel privileged. Like I want them to feel like little white kids. Like the mindset they have where you can do what the fuck ever you want to do. Who's gonna tell you no? Respectfully, but also want to give you that agency and that space to make a mistake, to feel what it's like to have everything, to feel what it's like to have everything taken away. But I want them to have that instilled because they don't have to go through a lot of the same situations I had to go through. They don't got to see roaches and rat strips. They don't got to see the fiends on the corner. There's a lot of life lessons that our generation might have learned that now that we're adults, we're not in the same position for our kids to have to deal with that. So there's a different way that they have to learn life skills. If that all connects and makes sense at all.
Do you think money makes a difference? And the reason why I ask that is because I think that me and you can both agree that our children are in a different bracket financially.
Most definitely.
From us, the parents, than we were when we were coming up. It's different.
It's funny because it's like, so compared to when my mom was at growing up, I was definitely able to make more money. I've been able to make more money. But the funny thing is there's still lessons that weren't taught.
Right.
Like saving, right? Like just the different levels of finances. So Biggie's More Money, More Problem is such a real thing until again, you learn that lesson either the hard way or through research. So while I may be making a decent amount of money, it took a little bit before I got to the spot to be like, yo, how do we make this continue to generate?
Right.
How do I not spend? How do I make sure my expenses aren't just in line with how much I'm making? Like, do I need to live below my means?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but again, the beauty in that is that my kids, they've never wanted for nothing. They would never know the struggle.
At all,
right? I think they seen like a water bug. That's what they call them when you got a little money.
And freaked out.
A water bug. Freaked the fuck out. They didn't know what that was, right? And so it's definitely a beauty for them to be able to know what it's like to have, or that's just all they know. Because then they do also, appreciate it more. So there's different lessons I get to kids as we talk about buying houses, the way stocks work. And it resonates. It's pretty dope to watch my 11-year-old daughter like really be like, oh, so that's what a broker does. Or, oh, that's why stocks are important for a business because that's the business. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really dope to see those things. And I didn't get them lessons.
No.
Until 25 years old.
This goes with the conversation. If you don't mind, give the listeners the resume of your daughter.
The resume of my daughter, like how dope she is. 3 books on you hoes. No, I'm playing. Yeah,
11 years old.
She's got 3 books. She's a track runner. She's extremely smart. Right now she's working on some other lines. She's working on a lip gloss line.
See,
crazy dope. I don't like have a genuine entrepreneurial spirit.
Mm-mm.
I'm a creative. I like to create and make, and coach and lead and show people like, yo, here's how you do this thing better. My wife, my daughter's mom, of course, my wife, right, Felicia, is a entrepreneur. Her mindset and the way she approaches things, 2 Beats Boutique, cutting out a church bus and making it a mobile boutique with dressers and drawers in there, right? Styling women in clothes. So my daughter's able to watch her mama do all these dope things. And of course she wants to be just as dope as mom's is. So it's fire.
That's dope that when your kids have an opportunity to see mom and dad, you know what I'm saying, be entrepreneurs, but then also be leaders of this generation or this time, and they can see it and they're like, I can do that too.
Bro, crazy. It's so simple. And I think, it just shows the dynamics of growth in community, right? And so I talk about, like, you got people that's really doing things. So we go to Councilman Johnson's house for the 4th of July every year. It's really good friends of ours, me and wifey's. Him and Danielle are amazing people. Our kids kick it, of course, as well, right? And the friend group that we have, the peer group, friend group, family group, consists of Christina and Jonathan Long, right? Entrepreneur, business at the core, like to the max, right? Kyle and Ricky Ellison, right? Kyle is the executive director of Real Men, Real Heroes, a wonderful group for young men here, young boys here, right? And just our core group, just different people. And I'm sitting outside of Brandon's house on the 4th of July, and I'm just looking around like, man, this is really dope that my kids have the opportunity to be around this group of people, and this is what they see.
Right.
That level of success, so this is normal. Like, that's dope as fuck.
That's real dope.
It's real dope.
Real
I
dope.
also joke, my daughter was born the year Obama won president. So she's been alive in a time frame where, just think about how dope our kids are gonna be, bro. They've been alive during a time where they seen the first black president.
Right.
So that's just normal to them.
Yeah.
They seen a woman get this close to being the president, right? And then they seen somebody who's a fucking nobody win president.
So it's someone of my color. Oh, happens a woman as well, and then an idiot. Oh, I know I'm not an idiot.
Come on, man. How can I not do anything?
That's dope.
It's crazy dope. So that's some of the perspective that I like to carry just as a parent, as I look at my kids, and again, in the way that I discipline, in the way that I teach them different levels of stuff. Like, I want them to be better than me. So,
Lil Sam.
My man, Sizzolino. That's his new nickname.
Sizzolino. Shout out Sizzolino.
What up, Sizzolino?
So he's been around, and since he can remember, Dad's been dope.
That's all we know.
Dad's been King Sam, Dad's been Big Sam. He's seen OG Sam. He's pulled up to video shoots, and he's seen Pops get greeted by everyone. He's seen everyone show the utmost respect to his father. Do you feel like in any way it's going to be a challenge that he feels like he has to live up to the Big Sam expectation?
Not one bit.
Almost like the LeBron-Bronny situation.
No, I ain't even on LeBron's level yet. We working there. But I think the beauty, though, is that it's just normalizing things for him. So now he's like, when you go a place, like, folks greet you with love. Like, it's love, and you can tell when it's not real love, right? As dope as I am, right? You said that, not me. But as dope as I am, I'm just dad to him, right? Like, they just want to spend time. That's it. They want to go hoop. They want to run track. My daughter want to tell me about girl drama at elementary school that I have no clue how to resolve.
Girls are scary. In this generation,
it's different, dog. But like those type of things, like, I used to get mad when they would ask me a whole bunch of questions, until I realized they just think I know everything. Yeah. So it's not like Dad the rapper. That's just Dad. That's Dad and Mom in a very regular. I can't even say healthy, because to them it's not healthy or unhealthy. It's just regular. So we talk about generational curses. Again, looking back and just the way we see things that feel normal. Like, oh, it's supposed to smell like plastic when you walk in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, gunshots might just go off at night. Like, so you grow accustomed to certain things and they're normal. Because it's just what you know. So my kids are in a great space to where all they know is this. Dope. So, yeah.
Sound advice is out.
Yes, indeed.
Sound advice is out.
Go cop that joint right now.
It's been a while since we've gotten a project. So my question for you is, Why now?
Man, it's just the multiple pieces of why now, man. Just really reflecting on life. Of course, I started producing myself like 2-3 years ago, right? Working third shifts. Like, man, I want to pick up a hobby. And I got okay at it.
A super stressful hobby.
It's stressful.
Stressful.
But it's wild though, because I think the most stressful part, cause I'm a rapper. I know pockets, I know melodies, I know what I want stuff to sound like. I think the hardest part is being able to articulate that through the machine. And having patience to sit down. So that's where the stress
go through every little thing to make sure. That's what I was looking for.
That's it, right? And I mix my own music, so I think being a rapper and mixing,
which is crazy.
Thank you.
Crazy.
I think that's a good crazy. But that translates well to producing music. Because one thing to make beats, but to actually be able to produce it is different. So after finally getting pretty good at that, like to where I'm like, okay.
How long did it take to get comfortable?
Maybe a year, maybe half a year. About 6 months to a year. But keeping in mind, right, I'm working a third shift gig where 8 hours a night. And I have the opportunity to, of course, do what I need to do, checking on the things I'm doing at work, but it's pretty light gig. So for 8 hours, I'm able to sit and focus on a craft. Can you imagine what you would be able to do with 8 hours dedicated daily, weekly to your craft, uninterrupted? So my kids ain't bothering me during this time, right? So I was able to study for one, learn different things, research different things, break all of that and apply it in a way that it made sense for what I was trying to do.
Gotcha.
So it was pretty pleasant. It was therapeutic almost in itself. So after that time frame of creating, like, you know what? I want to rap. I want to make some shit dope. But it was just rap. It wasn't nothing.
There was no project in mind.
And then I sat down. I was like, man, okay, I'm gonna make 2 projects. One, AKA Samuel David. One, AKA Big Sam. Like, I want to get personal. I always say that. My music is surface level, and I always want to go deeper. So what happened though is even through all of that, as I'm still finally getting comfortable with what I want to talk about. I don't like to just talk to be talking. I'm gonna talk a lot because when I talk, I love what I'm talking about. But I was like, you know what? I want to make sure it's about something. So I wrote Sound Advice. The first song from the album was the very first song that I wrote for this album. And it was just therapeutic to get off my chest, just how I feel after my grandma passed and my uncle passed, and back to back like that. Even hitting on some relationship with my mother. And then from that one song, the whole album sparked. But what really got this project going was Robert Jr.'s passing, right? He was murdered
early December,
man. So, and that was tragic, man. R.I.P. to Robert. And what happened is, the crazy part is that a lot of times when I would see young black men on TV getting killed, I was numb to it. Because after a certain while, it's almost like a trigger, or it's like a PTSD, or it's like, man, I don't want to see this shit.
It gets to a point you used to even stop watching.
I mean, and even like as you research, growing up, my uncle used to put me up on Hella Gang when I'm 10, 11 years old, talking about Emmett Till and things like that, right? So you see this constant cycle of repeated violence in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in community violence, or it's police brutality, or it's abusive authority type of situations, right? And so Robert Jr.'s passing put me in a space where it's like, man, he was a wonderful guy. You know what I'm saying? Like a really good character of man, and just the different things he did. And I was just sitting thinking like, man, that could have been me, right? I don't know the full circumstances of what happened, right? But I'm just like, man, that was a guy that was in nobody's way on his front yard, right? And so through that, I just really got to write and just reflecting on life. And that's where Time Don't Wait, Cycle, Repeat, and Affairs in Order all came together. Like the same night, I wrote them 3 songs.
Damn.
And from there, and this was Christmas break. So this same night, I'm just writing all of them. I'm like, okay, I got the album. Like I got the joints I want to put together. And it was really just 7 tracks at first. Between those 3, the Sound Advice, I wrote Word to Life, just almost like if something did happen, I would want to make sure that the people that I love the most in my life knew what was up.
So that's what you were trying to make sure that you got across.
That's what I got across.
Okay. Sound Advice makes so much more sense. Sound Advice is, and you said yourself that you're not really giving advice, you're going off of experiences.
Going off experience, bro.
So, but that's the best advice.
I agree.
Through the whole album, except for a certain song that we're going to talk about because we didn't get a chance to talk about that.
Okay.
You're telling your perspective. You're giving us your view of life, which is why I said I feel like I know you now better than I did.
Word.
But then it's like the bow at the end was to make sure that your kids, your mom, your wife, no matter what, you made sure that you got across, and that if something was to happen, they know.
100%.
And that's felt on that song. I told you as soon as you sent me the project, the first track, I sent you a message. Then I said, I'm not fooling with Sam no more. I'm not sending you no more messages.
Word.
The last song, I told you, I said, dog, I'm crying. These is real tears. These is real tears. And it's weird because you have a son and a daughter. I have a son and a daughter.
Word.
You have a wife, I have a wife. That everybody has mother issues. And it don't even have to be mother issues. There's just sometimes that through life, whatever we went through, we didn't get a chance to express to moms that like necessarily this hurt me, or I understand that you hurt because like you said, I forgot that Sam has a mom. Well, shit, we forget that moms had a life beforehand.
That part. And the different things they go through and how it impacts, man. And yeah, it's real. Like, as I wrote that song, it was really a reflection of if something happened, like what would they, you know what I'm saying?
I love that song.
Conversation? Like,
I love that song.
My favorite, I got a lot of favorite verses or bars from that, but my favorite bar, and I think the realest thing I wrote on there, is that my only hope in this life as I write is that the fruits of my labor stay ripe in spite of my past actions. May my transgressions never fall back on my seeds. Like, that's something I constantly think about. And
that sounds like a Bible verse.
It could be.
That sounds like a verse.
And it's a real thing that you think about, like the generational curses, the sins of the father. Like, yo, how do you really break this
cycle
where it doesn't? And I think a lot of it is recognizing, like, yo, I got faults that I need to atone for. And not just so they don't happen to whoever I love the most, but also to get that off. Because I think a lot of times we let our trauma define us as people, and a lot of people live in their trauma in a way that's where they find life, as backwards as that sounds.
It makes sense.
But that's how the album came together. Tic Tac Toe actually on the album was for a different project, and it's got like a whole thing to it. But as I finished the joint, I was like, yo, this could tie things in a nice way there, put a nice bow on it. And
I always thought that was your wife on Tic Tac Toe.
Singing?
Yes.
No, that's Angie. That's Angie Breath.
Always,
an amazing vocal.
Because as soon as you sent it to me, maybe it was like a miscommunication. Because like you might have said something along the lines of like, "Oh, wifey just gave me her opinion," or whatever. Here's like I don't know, something involving your wife was there to where I thought that was her, and I was just like, this nigga Sam got the whole family involved in the project now.
But that's the kids on the front. That's the kids doing their thing. They actually inspired the song when I wrote it a long time ago. Like the Tic Tac Toe, they was doing a hand game. Tic Tac Toe.
Your son got the best drop right now in the streets.
I told him, I said, bro, you know, every time somebody hear this song, they're gonna hear you. And I didn't want to put it on every single song, but I wanted it to hit when it hits. So
that's hard. That's hard.
Thank you. Hey, daddy. What's your ish?
That's hard.
Inspired.
In 2020, we've seen. Now in 2020, because dating back, the first time that I heard of Sam was dating back to 2011, 2012 time period. So that's been 9 years that I've at least known of you.
Wow, that's dope.
So what does Samuel Thompson get out of being Samuel David?
Same person. It's just layers of the person. I think for one, Samuel David isn't like a made up person. It's not like a character that's created.
That's your middle name,
that's
right?
That's me, Samuel David Thompson,
yeah.
Right? And making that conscious effort after one of the homies was, R.I.P. Jerron, was like, yo, I think you outgrown Big Sam. So I moved on to Samuel David. And there's this thing about, if I'm rapping and I tell you my name is Samuel David, I can't lie about much. I can't not be me because Samuel David is who I am.
Right.
And so it's just an extension of who I am at the core. And through the music, the main goal is to just it's a release for me, right? I don't make music just to make music. Like when I'm writing, I'm really wanting to get something off and reveal something in some way, shape, or form. So you just really, and that's wherever I'm at in life. Like every step along life, I will share the music in some way, shape, or form. So that's where Samuel David.
Therapeutic.
Or maybe Samuel David is the voice. I don't know, but same shit.
Samuel David's like the inner thoughts of Samuel Thompson?
Possibly. Maybe that I could roll with that. You said it, not me, but I could make that make sense.
As long as I get credit for it.
Say less.
So, with Sound Advice, was there any expectation? Did you feel any pressure on yourself or anything to make sure that this project was any type of like perfection? Because I know how you are, you're a perfectionist.
Not for anybody else. Like,
did you have any expectations like when it's heard for the people? Like, did you have any idea like, okay, it's gonna be all love, it's gonna be a little bit of hate, or did you think like, I don't know how I feel, what they might think about this project?
More than anything, once I was finished with it, like 100%, I just wanted it out. Like I tend to not give a fuck about unsolicited opinions. If I reach out and I'm like, yo, what you think? Then okay, I'm gonna take that feedback.
Gotcha.
But I don't never do anything with the hopes of, ooh, this gonna kill them, or they're gonna soak this up, or I hope, because then I will get lost in, okay, I want to appeal this people, I want to appeal this crowd. It's really just more so for me, like, okay, I done produced this whole joint, I done mixed this whole joint. Like I'm ready to give the world a baby. Like I've been looking at this beautiful baby for the longest. I'm ready to maybe not hang him off the balcony like Mike did, but I want to show the world this baby. You feel me? And can't nobody tell me if my baby's ugly or not. Is the way I look at it. And so I think the beauty in it though is that the emotions that were woken in me, right, and the things that I was saying, it resonated. So people felt it. So that's definitely a plus, right? But I don't think if it wouldn't have hit, I would have been like, oh man, damn. I wouldn't have been messed up about it because I still was able to speak my mind about that. Like, talk to my mother. My mama didn't hear that song until the album was out. She didn't hear Word to Life because she don't stream music.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? So she didn't hear Word to Life until Mother's Day.
And what did she think?
She loved it, right? And a lot of it was validation and affirmation for her, just in different thoughts she's had, right? And so that means more to me than anything anybody could say about how they feel about a song.
Than any post or anything like that.
Because again, the people that were meant to hear it and the feelings that are supposed to be felt was felt. So
let's go back to volume 2.
Can I talk much?
So,
classic too, by the way.
Volume
Trill did his thing on those.
Volume 2 comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, it didn't have the same feedback as this project did.
Yes.
What was your thoughts after Volume 2 dropped? Did it meet your expectations or was it kind of a letdown?
Volume 2 is still dope as fuck.
Okay.
Like, I actually got a bar in a song that didn't make Sound Advice. Because Flim told me it didn't work, but I don't give a fuck, I'm still dropping.
Where you said Volume 2 flopped or some shit?
No, I said lack of marketing likely reduced accomplishments.
I know you said something about Volume 2 in a song that you had shared with me or something, and I was like,
that was it.
Oh shit.
That was like lack of marketing likely reduced accomplishments. Because Volume 2 dropped, and while working on Volume 2, actually, my grandmother passed. So my grandmother passed on Thanksgiving 2017. I'm going through planning my grandmother's funeral with my uncle, right? We're the men of the family. My cousins in North Carolina, we're the 3 adult males, right? 30 days later, my uncle passes away unexpectedly at a stop sign, right? So, and this is all while I'm writing the album. Like POV, the song on the album, like literally was recording it rather when I got the call about my uncle.
Damn.
Right, and so I didn't give a fuck about that album after that because, for one, I think death is so sincere, and that's when I really started looking at death differently.
Death changes everything.
Death changes everything.
It doesn't matter what your thought process was beforehand. As soon as you get a notice about anything death related,
well,
it's a whole different thought.
The toughest part, though, like where I started getting irrational thoughts, right? Irrational anxiety. So my grandma, when she passed, it was expected. Her health had declined, and we knew, okay, we're gonna have to make a decision,
right?
Or we're gonna have to deal with the decision she makes.
But
when my uncle passed, I was like, whoa, time to fuck, no way, right?
It's kind of coming too fast.
It's coming too fast. So then, through my irrational anxiety, I'm really like, yo, I can't even drive nowhere. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, this is too soon, too fast. Like, I became the man of my family, not my house, my family. And my house moves different. I see things different than a lot of my elders in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so through death, it also grief, I think, exposes the true character of a lot of people. And so just even looking at that and dealing with different situations there, going through an honest depression, right? Going through a very sincere level of anxiety and fear, I quit my job. Right, so this is all when the album's dropping.
Is it in the midst of this depression?
In the midst of this, I made the decision, I'm not doing nothing that don't feel purpose driven and that I can't thrive in. Like, I'm really going through these thoughts, and I'll recommend, if I give any advice or experience, never make strong decisions out of grief.
No.
Because you have to live with that. And so in that, again, this is when the album's dropping. So I think that's a lot of reasons. I know that's a lot of reasons I didn't care about the album after it was out, because
I think the project,
at this point.
And now that you say this, it makes more sense. I think the project, you had enough done where you're like, I'm mentally not here anymore.
Yeah.
Drop this shit. Like, get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know everything that's going on with Sam, the actual Samuel Thompson.
Right.
We just know Samuel David's here, giving us another project.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what Volume 2 might have lacked, and it's just a small lack, is that it didn't have the story that this project might have.
Yeah.
Because I think that you're at a point where people would appreciate just a mixtape by Sam, like, yo, let me talk my shit, and like, these are just songs.
Yeah.
But I think also when Sam says, I'm dropping an album, it has weight to it. It has a voice to it, and people have an expectation. I think that when Volume 2 came out, I think that expectation wasn't necessarily met. But how can it be met? How can I fully tell you the story of what I created if mentally I'm fucked up?
I don't care at this point.
Right.
And crazy thing about even Volume 2 is Biff was on Volume 2.
Yep.
Biff
Your biggest single yet.
One of it's a fucking flame. Even if it wasn't my song, it's a flame.
Shout out Freddie High.
Shout out Freddie High and Kyle Ellison, man, my guys in real life. Had Too Short wanting to sign me, that song, right? Even if through that, it was just like, But that's where I think mental health is so important, because my depression and my honest anxiety drove me away from doing the thing that I love the most for a little bit of time, right? While also taking care of my loved ones. So I wasn't even taking care of myself, right? I was mentally checked out. I'm numb at this point. Don't nothing hurt. Going through all that stuff. I ironically actually started working in mental health, right? So I've always been a huge proponent of mental health, but I actually started professionally in my 9 to 5 working in mental health. And so some of those resources helped me out a lot, right? Not even like therapy, but like just the affirmation of different things, right? And learning different things, or practicing what I'm teaching other people in essence, right? And so through that, through my faith journey even, right? Because for the longest, my faith system was much different than it is now, right? But then through death, you realize you don't run shit. You ain't in control of nothing. Like, as much control you have, and I used to struggle where I lacked control. And so a lot of people don't know, but between Volume 2 and even Sound Advice, I dropped Triple Double, Faith, Family, and Love, which is a 4-track EP, really just kind of detailing my faith journey. But again, like a marketing, like a reduced accomplishments, because I'm just dropping it, I'm not really focused on it.
Right.
But then we get to Sound Advice, and it's a lot of heavy focus on if I want to do this the right way.
Was that before you started doing production for yourself?
Triple Double is all me produced. Like I produced all of that.
Got you.
So yeah. So between volume 2, I dropped Triple Double, Tic Tac Toe, Diddy Nim, and Get You Paid, all produced by me. But it was the level of confidence in the production wasn't quite there yet. So I was like, all right, let me.
You'll appreciate this one. Get You Paid did not get the recognition it deserved.
Get You Paid is fucking classic, bro.
Get You Paid did not get the recognition it deserved. But I can understand now because it didn't get that push.
Yes.
So
yes.
Now I'm curious about this. I'm sorry.
Talk to me.
Uncle passes.
Yes.
Not too far from your grandmother passing. That's a lot for your headspace.
Bro, too much.
To the point you quit your job, music is on the back burner. How's family taking this? How are the kids and the wife? Because I'm sure at this point in time, Sam is probably not regular Sam, not regular Pops. No. If not, there might be some days where it's a little bit hard, you know.
I mean, and so think about this, right? And so that's why I say don't make decisions out of grief, because there is a spiral of things that happen with every decision you make in life. So I quit a very, 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 very well compensated role, right? Now I'm working 2 jobs, right? And so I can blame grief as being the thing that then sparked these other things that happened. I can say it was God humbling me. I can say it was God putting me in a position to really recognize what I need to be doing, what's most important in this moment, right? Being present. And so through working a 3rd shift and a 2nd shift job, my kids see daddy not that much now, right? And when they see me, I'm tired of shit. Wifey's letting me know, bro,
that's where that bar comes in and says working 9 to 9. My kids don't understand, they just want time.
That's it. They want my time, nothing more. Mama worked 3 jobs. Right? It's
I was close
in there, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so I think through that, it also allowed me to reflect and to climb out of grief. Because again, as the man of my family, the man of my house, you recognize how every little thing you do impacts every little thing.
Yes.
And so I'm like, all right, I gotta take care of me. I gotta get my mentals right. And through that, it bleeds over to my kids, it bleeds over to my wife. And so just recognizing when you down, that's why again, I just speak to the mental health piece, recognizing when you feeling depressed, recognizing when I had my very first like anxiety moment attack after.
It was an anxiety attack.
It was an anxiety attack to the max.
A nigga don't realize he's having an anxiety attack until after you have a convo with moms and she's like, oh yeah, baby, you had your anxiety attack.
No, I was sitting by myself and I said, whoa, I remember this feeling as a kid. Right, this dark, closed feeling.
I'm there with you, yep.
This cold, like I can't, right? And then I was like, whoa. And that's when I really recognized I need to get myself right. I don't know that I went through the proper measures to get myself right, but because sometimes I smoke the easy pain. Sometimes I smoke the free one. No, I'm joking. Fire some. But that's where a lot of that comes from and just stems from getting closer to God, being more intentful in my prayer, in my meditation, not just talking and asking, but listening, really reflecting, really recognizing how I've impacted situations and my lack of power in those situations, also recognizing that God ain't gonna do for me what I can do for myself. And so where do I need to step up, boss up, and handle myself in different situations? So leaning on God where I need to, and also recognizing the power that He gave me as well. And that's how I was able to climb and get to a space of mad zen.
What's Sam's spirituality like? Because, and we've never had this talk, but you don't come off to me as a Christian man like that. More of a spiritual person.
Yeah.
More so to say, and I know people don't like saying that now because it's the cliche,
man, I think
whatever. But you know, sometimes I don't want to put a label on this shit. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, the spirit is what matters most.
You can't, man. It's relationship. Like I'm I'm not religious. And then some would even joke that the Christians, right? Like Kanye says, it's funny, but like the religion piece of it, right? Or the label piece will have you feel like you are religious because you have, rituals and things you do for other things. Why not for God? But something that I tell my kids often is that we're made in God's image.
Yeah.
Right. And so there is a relationship. There is no perfection, right? It's only progress and work. And so I lean way more on relationship than religion, but I also recognize through my relationship with Christ, with God, right, that there are different networking benefits that come from that, right? Like different church groups, things like that. But I would say even if I wasn't involved in like church, I would still have that strong relationship because I recognize who runs my life, who allows me different things. And I mean, even if you got deeper, right, God is in each and every one of us.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I look in the mirror and I don't see God, then I'm off. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what that's saying, what would Jesus do? I definitely recognize that every book that's set in spirituality, right? Quran, the Bible, the different versions of the Bible. At the core of them, there's a premise of how to live.
Yes.
And that's what I take back more than anything. Like I don't even get into the arguments with people that, oh, God ain't real, oh, the black man is God. Like, yo, I'll never knock your beliefs because we all arrive to how we believe through different levels of life. I used to practice 5%er. I used to really believe the black man is the God, white man is devil. You know what I'm saying? But then there's certain things that happen. It's like I said, when my grandma, my uncle passed, like, whoa, you don't run this, bro. Like, could you stop them from dying?
Nope.
Right? And so recognizing the power that I have and I don't have, the power in God, and just really living off that. If that wraps around, I ramble sometimes, but I hope that kind of
it does.
Works.
So my next question is that I don't know how long it's been. I'm guessing it's been about a year and a half, possibly 2 years since both your grandmother and your uncle passed. So now in this space, does death still bring that same emotion, or do you feel now more of it as a celebration?
I can't put a stamp on that for sure, right? Because I think grief does different things, right? And grief is the one emotion that you have no control over.
None at all.
You don't give a fuck how you feel. It can be anger, it can be sad, it can be confusion, it can be frustration, it can be joy, right? Just in reflection. So for the longest, I was truly numb to death, like after my uncle passed. But really, like I said, when Robert Jr., when he passed, and then George Kirksey was murdered, it's like, whoa.
R.I.P. crazy, man.
It hit home a little bit different. When Elbert Costello Jr. was murdered, Pooh's son, it's like, whoa. And even in that, I don't know. I know Pooh, but I don't know his son, right? But to watch somebody like that, knowing where Pooh come from,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like knowing who he is, for him to say, yo, no retaliation.
No. Right?
And so just in reflection in moments like that, it's really like, it changes the views on death and grief. I even used to I'd have to tell my mom often, because my mom was my grandmother's primary caregiver. She was my uncle's oldest sister. Right? And so I would even have to help her recognize, like, yo, you grieving how you grieve, everybody's hurting. And so through that, recognize through any death, anything like that, like I try now to find the peace in it, the joy in it, and not try to make it make sense.
Death is never gonna make full sense.
I think growing up, like all my best friends passed. I had a friend, his name was Logan, a young black kid. Him and his brother passed away in a fire in Oklahoma, right? After moving from Wichita, we was in like 5th grade. My best friend Rashad Pryor, R.I.P. He passed away. Like my daughter was 6 months.
Damn.
When my best friend passed. Like he passed in his sleep. My dog Kosh, R.I.P. Kosh, right? He passed Halloween, right? Like, let me get the date wrong. I want to say 2012, 2013. And so I think it's one thing to have death happen and it's like mad traumatic. So I mean, you involved in different activities and you got people that's being murdered off, being killed off. And it's another thing when death happens, and it happens so close to you. And through that, it's just a different reflection of life, like I said, like really recognizing every single moment is, shit ain't promised.
Not at all.
So what we doing with it? So in that, my level of grieving has definitely shifted. Because I also recognize this shit can be taken from me that quick.
In an instant.
Like, that quick. So, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna ask this last question and then we're gonna get more into the music side.
I'm cool with that. I like talking to you, Rello.
I appreciate talking to you too, King. I appreciate it. What is one of Sam's biggest fears?
My biggest fear?
I'm gonna share with you and then maybe you can share with me. So
okay, that's fair.
When Robert Jr. passed, I caught myself in the midst of having an anxiety attack.
Word.
Crazy enough, I've never met Robert Jr. a day in my life. But the reason why I was having this anxiety attack is because I started scrolling through his profile page on Facebook, and Robert died in December of last year. Many people do know, but some people don't know that Robert actually had a baby late last year. Whether it was in August or October, I can't remember. I want to say it was October. And his daughter was battling health issues. Now, the last post I seen Robert post was him celebrating his daughter coming home.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking to myself, here I am, 27 years old. I have a daughter that when she was born, we had to stay at the hospital because she was having breathing problems.
Word.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I know that experience. But here I am getting to live and see my daughter, and someone robbed him of that opportunity.
Right.
So I caught myself having an anxiety attack because I thought about my kids growing up without me. It touched so much that I didn't realize I'm in the midst of one. And so
Word.
wifey's like, you okay? And I'm just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just need to get away. I go for a drive, and it's just like in my head, I'm just like, I'm gonna die.
Word.
So that's where my mind started going. It's like, I'm gonna die. So next thing you know, things are going good. It's a couple days later, and I got my kids where, we done got some food. We're having a great time. And I'm like, I'm gonna die tonight. This high note would be the time where all of a sudden it would happen.
Yeah.
It scared me.
Word.
So I didn't realize that was a big fear of mine, was my children growing without me.
Word.
My wife having to battle that and because my daughter's almost 2 years old. So at this point, if something was to happen to me now, she probably wouldn't even remember me.
Wouldn't have a lot of memories, no.
That scares me.
I could feel that. I could definitely respect that. That's a real thing. I think through introspection, right, perspective, I've been able to kind of lose that fear, right? And rather be cautious of what I do that could cause something like that to happen. Even on Words of Life, I mentioned like my biggest fear is losing my wife, right? And not even like in a way of passing, like me doing something stupid enough to where I lose my wife, right? And so, but my daughter asked me that drive one day. She's like, "Daddy, what are you afraid of?" And I couldn't think of anything that like I'm genuinely afraid of anymore in life, right? Versus just being cautious of what I do and how it impacts emotional intelligence, right? Being mindful of how I impact situations, how I impact people, and just being on purpose with that, right? Kind of a joke, but like the last time I felt scared, I think I mentioned on the Sound of Life Barbershop Talk, but I was watching TV, and then I came to this quick thought of like, yo, what if my daughter was a teenage mom, right? And I guess this is kind of more of an analogy of my thoughts in regards to fear in general. But I'm thinking like, what if my daughter became a teenage mom? Like, what would my reaction be? My initial reaction was, I can't kick her out. Like, this is my daughter. And you see that often, right? You see where kids make mistakes, teenagers make mistakes, and the parents
why are we gonna make it harder for them?
But that's all they know. That's all the parents know. So I get that. That's how they handle it. But I'm really thinking like, yo, I wouldn't react that way. Like I would, in every way, shape, or form, provide my daughter with the space to be the best mother that she could be, and to also make sure that her baby could be the best.
I believe it.
I do not want my daughter to be a teenage mom whatsoever.
Nobody does.
Right. And so in that moment of fear, like, oh shit, what if this could happen? Teen moms on, that's why I had the thoughts. But in the moment of those thoughts, I really just was like, you know what? Parenthood is the best analogy for life, right? Because all you can do is hope that think of the biggest fear you have for your kids and equip them with the game to navigate through life in that way, shape, or form, right? In that same analogy, I think to God, right? Now we God's children, right? And that if we definitely follow suit with what God has for us, the instructions and the game that he gives us, like constantly, like when you hear yourself talking to yourself, like recognize when that's God talking.
If you don't talk to yourself, you're a weirdo.
But just through those things of like God giving you the game throughout life, being equipped. Like God ain't scared that you're gonna do something stupid. Yeah. Because his only hope is that he gave you everything you're supposed to do, right? And that you equip it and run with it in the most productive, positive way. And so through that lens, I've been able to let go of a lot of fear, a lot of anxiousness, a lot of that irrational anxiety. Like I said, it was a moment I thought I was scared to drive because I just knew something was gonna happen to me. Too many people's dying. And so after letting that go, it's that anxiety, and recognizing what's irrational, what's rational, and taking the fear out and just being cautious, right? Like I love it. That's where my mind space is at these days.
I feel you. Right. Is God a man or a woman?
I don't know for sure. I don't know 100%.
We don't know. I
don't know, but
because I can see both sides.
I like
because
I've been the most amazing creators in this world.
I've been there. I agree. And it makes all the sense in the world for it to be a woman. But then when you become a father and you think to yourself, you be like, there's no love like a mother's, but a father's love is just as strong. It's just as strong. It just comes in different ways. It's a different level. And so same applies to life. Like you'll say to yourself, you'll be like, okay, I can see why God would be a man, because you know what I'm saying, I'm his son. I'm come from his image. So I can see why you could say both. You can make it make sense. And I think that's faith though. And you ain't got to answer. I was just putting it out there and just.
That's the joy in faith, is that you put your faith in what you want to believe and what you believe is true, and you act according to what you believe is true. I truly believe God is a spirit. I truly believe God is a spirit. My God might be different than Troy's God. Right. Right. Because the things that my heart desire, God's going to give me. Right. Right. But what happens if what my heart desires is in conflict with what his heart desires? So that's where I truly believe that God is in each and every one of us in a different way, right? In the same way, but in a different way.
We all have to learn different ways. We all have to experience different ways.
Yes, indeed. And so, but you got to decide when to activate your God, when to activate your God-given skills and abilities and enlightenment and things like that. So,
all right. So the last time. So for you that don't know, this is me and Sam's second time sitting down. We're not going to talk about why the first one didn't work out and why we had to come back today. Shout out LT.
I forgot the camera was even there. You're really good.
But what we're going to do is, in this part, the last time got you. So I have a list of people that I'm going to ask you about. And I want Sam to give me his thoughts on these individuals.
Okay. You changed up the names?
No.
Because on the way here, I was like, yo, Rello do that same thing he did last time, and he throw a specific rapper's name in there. I'm going to sound really,
No, so we're going to stick to it. Big Cliff.
Big Cliff, legend. Big Cliff was like, I guess speaking of Cliff. Cliff was extremely intelligent, extremely, love. Wherever you seen Cliff, it was all love. Right?
Always.
Huge heart. Had so much game to give, true legend, not just here in music. I think if Cliff would have had a longer lifespan, his reach would have been even crazier. But just to think of the amount of people that he touched while here is beautiful. Actually met Cliff through my wife. She was going to school with his girl at the time. And she's like, yo, we should do a double date. I'm like, cool, whatever. And we pull up, go out to eat, and it's like, oh, it's Cliff, dope. Like, and just from there, it was always love. He hit me up on random stuff, give me different game, and just to watch the way he interacted with other people and gave them game. Like, Cliff was just beautiful spirit, man. Beautiful, like beautiful people, man. Like, yeah.
R.I.P. to the streets, G.O.V.
Yes, indeed.
Brandon Be Cautious Johnson.
Be Kosh. Rest in peace to Kosh, man. Kosh was a great friend of mine, OG of mine. Like we clicked quick. He was part of Bughead, and I would do different shows and music. And he just hit me one time and had a whole plan laid out for me, for what me and him was gonna do. And he was like, "We're gonna be like Dre and Snoop. It's like whatever you're doing, I'm throwing money behind." It was just he had like a crazy plan, and we clicked quick in such a short amount of time. We probably had like a relationship for a year of like big bro type situation before he passed away due to injuries. So Kosh was beautiful heart, the monster, beautiful soul, beautiful peoples, man. Again, love, just all love when you seen him. Kept it 100% real, jokester. R.I.P. Kosh, man.
YBM Steel.
Free Stiller. Stiller, that's my guy from YBM Steel. That's my guy from elementary school. We went to Linwood Elementary together. We do teen night freestyle battles. We'd freestyle in middle school, high school. It's actually how I met Smooth, was through Steel.
Freestyling in the bleachers.
In the bleachers at South High. But Steel's just always been my dog. Like, it's always been love. We, so we had a group, Kansas Bar Association between me, Steel, Chris Barnett, and .com. We lock in the studio. We had quite a few jams we was about to push out. Kansas was one of the dope ones. It was so dope, we did 2 videos. We did a nighttime video and a daytime video for Kansas. The Kill Any Nigga Should Ask Somebody. This is all before right when my son was born, when Lil Sam was born. And that actually is what sparked 87, because .com gave his life to Christ and quit rapping. Barnett retired.
Suddenly out of the blue.
Out of nowhere. And Barnett's always been like somebody that I thoroughly respect and look up to music-wise. And Still got locked up, so it was just me. I was doing my thing for a little bit, and then Still got out. And this moment he got out, came to my house right when he got out, and we just locked in and knocked out 87.
Crazy.
And yeah, that's my man's in real life. Still, Jay pay all of that. Like that's my nigga.
Let me ask you this question, and I hope I don't offend anyone, because I mean this in the most respectful way.
If it's disrespectful, I'm gonna tell you, and I'm not gonna answer.
If Steel was out, how would the music scene be right now?
I think there'd be a different level of aggression, right? I think what Steel brings is there's a level of authenticity. There is a level of aggression that I think is unmatched, even in the rap battle. I think the rap battles here in the Midwest would look different, but Steel definitely carried a different type of energy. He carries a different type of energy, where even while we was doing 87, like it gave me freedom to. I always say I'm from the hood, but I'm not the hood nigga, right? I've never been with the extras, but been around the extras rather. And 87 did something where I was able to lyrically, me and Still was on the level, like throughout the whole joint. So it gained a different level of respect in his crowd, and he gained a different level of respect for my audience. And so I think if Still was out, man, it'd be different. I can't say how it'd be different. It's always in what ifs, right? It'd be.
I think about, and like I said, I don't want this to be the wrong way, but like, I know he has to be proud of Smooth.
I'm sure.
I know he has to be proud of Smooth and everything that Smooth has accomplished, and what how long Smooth's lasted. Like he's become his own. Like, you know, he's become the Wichita Savage. He has that persona. So I just wish that, like, when all this was happening, that Steel could have been there too. You
know, I always look at different things. So as I said, I'm like a leader coach first before even the creative piece. And I look at different artists and I put on a hat of either fan, manager, whatever you want to say. And the three brothers you mentioned, actually, between Cliff, Steele, and Kosh, like they had not only were they dope lyrically, they had a different business sense. Like Steele is who put me up on how to get BMI registered. This was 2010, right? A lot of cats don't even have their BMI registered. So Steele's one of the first people to teach me about publishing and things like that. So his level of the business game was like, he was ready, and he had he has the talent as well. I don't know, even recognizing that Steele was Steele and Smooth was Smooth before YBM, right? And then they put YBM together, and they got classics. Like they definitely are one of the groups in the Midwest that shook shit up.
Yeah.
And so even from the battles, like there's a couple artists who I think still stamp. Granted, you may see who won the battle differently, but I think still stamp definitely gave a lot of brothers life too. Like just from the battle range. So
I feel that.
the shit would be different.
I feel that.
Yeah, free Steeler, man.
Definitely free Steele, and we're praying for you. Much love to you.
Always.
XV.
Legend. Don the Don. Nah, XV is a legend, man.
Tell me about the beef that you and XV had at one point.
I won't say it was beef.
Nah, there was beef.
That's funny. It wasn't beef.
It was
me
tension.
Me and XV didn't have beef.
It was tension.
There was a time where me and a long time ago.
Anybody in the crew can get it.
I want to make sure I said for this. I want to provide thorough context for this. We all from Wichita, so
right.
People run into each other and things like that. This is when XV, Freddie High was Bling, Says Batter. They was doing Royalty City, in Town East. This had to have been early 2000s, right? We in Town East, and everybody rap, and we just happened to have like a rap battle. I don't know who won the battle, the freestyle battle, whatever you want to call it, in that moment, but it got so crazy where we was at that the security guards broke it up. And so the funny thing from that is, again, me and XV, like it's always been like that. It was a thing for the longest, but it's always been love, like Post, right? But it was a thing for a little bit, and more so with Bling, Freddie High at the time. So he had a song that was on the radio in high school, right? And just being ignorant, disrespectful high schooler, right? The song playing on the radio, they ask what you think about it. I call in and I'm like, oh, the song sucked, whoa, whoa, whoa. Talking stupid. And me and his girlfriend at the time, who's now his wife, we was pretty cool. Like we was good people. Like our crew, our clique was good people. And with me calling in on there, it messed that up. Like that was real disrespectful because we friends. And so me and Bling had beef, like so much so where like he running up on me at the football game. We making diss songs back and forth about prom and shit, like the corny shit like that. But it was funny because there was no genuine animosity or beef. It was just like kids. But now as adults, like before we even did Biffa, like we just had conversation, and that's my dude in real life. Like one of my best friends in real life now, Freddie High. And it's just good people. I mean, I tell that with the XV story because it all comes from that, but it's pretty fun. But Freddie High is one of my really, really good friends in real life. Like even if we don't talk every single day, we'll hit each other and it'll be on nothing but real conversation. But XV, definitely a legend. I think XV was ahead of his time when he first came out. So much so that when he comes out, when he's dropping out independently, his fan base ain't never went nowhere. Like XV was so far ahead of his time. I think he really, so I grew up on the Noise. Like that was the first hip hop I seen from Wichita that was like on a pedestal. You know, BET, commercials, they nonstop on the radio. I'm actually 10 years old pulling up to their video shoot.
That's hard.
So even as a youngin', like rapping, like it was always like, oh, I've seen somebody from my town do that. That's the thing we can do. But then XV did it, and XV did it on such a mad scale. I'm playing 2K and I'm Awesome's playing. I'm watching TV and the Verizon commercial that's coming on, right? And so what XV did, on top of being an extremely talented individual, creative, he opened doors. He opened eyes for people to really, whether they agree with it or not, for people to be able to see like, yo, you can do some shit from Wichita. Right here. And my affinity for zodiac signs comes from XV. Like he came to the crib. I was working on volume 2 actually before all the craziness happened, and we was just talking. And he has a book that runs down the zodiacs of anybody you could think.
I have to see this book.
I didn't see the book. He can tell you about it, and he's telling me, he's like, yeah, you and smooth Virgos, boom, boom, boom. That's why I know, like, yo, a lot of cancers. There's something about Wichita that provides so much space for cancers to thrive on a level. Like, it's crazy.
Me and Troy had this conversation.
Word.
And Troy put me on game because XV told him about like successful cancers, how somehow, some way, it's almost like cancers find a way to rise to the top. It's like no matter what, the job gets done. They're always able to, be successful in what they do.
It's emotion.
Yeah.
It's a passion and emotion they have.
Cancers get on my fucking nerves.
Cancers are some of my favorite people. Like that. So like Kyle Ellison, one of my great friends, like he's a Cancer. XV's a Cancer, great peoples. Freddie High's a Cancer. I want to say...
I'm ready to fight all you niggas.
I could be wrong, but I almost want to say Cliff was a Cancer. I could be wrong, though. Don't quote me on that. Flim's a Cancer, right? DJ Fu is a Cancer. So you look at these people who are able to really cultivate culture. I'm a Virgo, so I can analyze and critique and break shit down all day and show you ways to do what's right. Leos, so like a DJ3, DJ Detroit, heavy Leo energy, right? So what they say is right. I'm trying to think of what else. You got different Geminis who are able to be mad mutable in different situations. You get two pieces of it. And then I think even with some artists that are Libras, you may see where they truly can't find, it takes a little bit of time to find themselves, right? Because they have so many different fleeting feelings or fleeting ideas or thoughts that they just kind of go with it, and whatever works in that moment. And I'm not stuck to nothing. I'm just on my own journey.
Right.
And so knowing that, and then I also love I kind of went away from everything, but I love the zodiac even more so because I don't do the daily horoscope, but like in the professional world, you do like Myers-Briggs tests, right? And there's other personality tests that you do that really kind of help shape or recognize your personality type in situations. I think zodiacs are like a tried and true, like you really know what you're getting with somebody. If we sit down and I tell you from the jump, all right, recognize I'm a Virgo. And if you know that as a Virgo, I'm gonna critique the fuck out of shit.
Yep.
I'm gonna talk when I'm passionate. I might fall back when I'm not. Then when I get annoying, it's easy to recognize, oh, okay, that comes with this. Disrespectful is one thing, but like, okay, I can see where this comes from. Or a Leo might just be like, oh, I get it. I get it. I understand it.
Leos don't get it.
They don't.
Leos don't even understand what they be trying to say.
Chris Barnett wanted to bark down my throat because I said it on the sound device, but it was so real. But yeah, Leos are a different type of energy, man. It's just, but that's what I love about people, right? And just being able to recognize the various perspectives. And although zodiacs may give you like at the core of how behavior is, there is still life that happens that really provide different perspective and thought processes for how people do what they do, on top of the behaviors that may be aligned with their sunshine. All right, I'm good. I'm sorry. Yeah.
His name's come up a couple of times in this interview, so let's go ahead and talk about him now. Chris Barnett.
Chris Barnett, legend. I think Chris Barnett, when I first started doing music, Chris Barnett was like the prototype for what was okay for me as a rapper, right? Because I don't sell dope. I'm not in the club like that. I don't do mob music. And when I dropped, like a lot of that was going on. I actually had a bar in one song. I was like, it's like the dub been soft ever since South Dallas Swag crushed the building. Right? And if your song wasn't in the radio, then you wasn't rapping. And Chris Barnett had visuals that highlighted his family, right? He was just mad lyrical and just rapping. And I was like, oh, okay. It provided me a level of comfort as an artist.
So we can do this here.
So we can do this here. And again, this is, now I don't give a fuck, but this is back then. But Chris Barnett's a wonderful spirit. I actually seen an article on Chris Barnett. Well, not an article, but a Facebook post with a lady, and she said this with her own words, right? But she was highlighting that she was a heavier lady, right? And she had a medical condition that she didn't know about yet. And she collapsed wherever she was at. And Chris Barnett, she'd been looking for this guy for the longest, and Chris Barnett was who it was, who helped her. Right,
That's
that she had fallen, and through that fall was when she was able to recognize she had this medical condition. Chris Barnett, in the picture, she also highlights that he only has one leg or one foot, right? And so through that goes to show you the type of character that's at the core of this man, right? Great peoples is just giver, just great energy, loving. So Chris Barnett's my guy, man. Good people.
Love to Barnett, and I'm so proud of you for killing that verse.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That was sincere love.
Last one.
Okay.
Felicia Thompson.
That's wifey. That's the queen, man. Nigga look at my wife, he looking the wrong way. But nah, like that's my partner. That's my partner in life. My best friend. It's my nigga right there. She's dope. She's a wonderful woman. Wonderful woman before anything. Extremely innovative, smart. She gonna go get the shit, right? She's a wonderful wife. The most amazing partner God could have given me. Like we still learning each other, which is dope. We 9 years married this year, right? Been together for 13 years.
Congrats.
Thank you. And we still constantly learning each other because people constantly change. And that's the beauty in marriage, is respecting the changes that people go through and being there to best support them as they go through these different life cycles. She's the most amazing mother too. Like my kids got a dope ass mom. Like I actually had a song that was gonna go on the album that I was like, this is when I was going through the creation. It was called Good Ass Rapper. And the hook was like, I'm just a rapper with a good ass job. My baby boy got a good ass mom. My baby girl got a good ass mom. I got a good ass wife. I thank God I live a good ass life. Like that was just the hook. But it was corny as fuck when I said it out loud. But that was good. That was the thing that just
I wasn't gonna say it. I'm like, yo, I know you want to give your acknowledgement, but I was like, yo, good ass.
But that turns out that turns into other songs. But like that's just like the easiest way I could put it. Like I got a great partner in life. So.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point in your career, because you have to acknowledge that Samuel David is a veteran in this shit.
Am I?
Yes.
This niggas that ain't heard my shit yet.
You are a veteran in this shit.
And
if I can pull back footage of ciphers or anything dating back to when niggas didn't even know how to record their own shit, or even thought about dropping a mixtape. Yeah. If I can bring up your catalog dating back almost a decade, then you're a veteran.
I'll take that. I think I started rapping before rap was like a lick. Like I really have a passion for music.
Before it became a 9 to 5.
Before it became I wouldn't even say 9 to 5. I think it's a hustle for some people.
It's a hustle, but then some people look at it as a career, like instead of actual passion. See, that's the difference to me between a lot of people, is that people look at rap as a money route.
I won't say career. I would say hustle.
A hustle,
like
okay.
They look at like, yo, I can make a quick bag from this.
Then we have actual creatives.
Then there's some that can combine the both.
Yeah.
Combine the two. But I've been doing music since, like, I stepped in a session with one rapper, I won't even say names, and mans didn't even know what bars was. When I started rapping, like, yo, we would write 16 bars on purpose. So again, I'm a student of the game, and so I guess I'll take the veteran thing. I'll take it.
This is where that comes from. Okay. So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like at this place, do you feel like your career is going to the point where you're starting to give you the finale? Or do you feel like the career is just getting started?
I think even like when I look at my catalog, like I think I started, like when I started in like trying to find a voice, trying to find my bag, my pocket of what I want to do music wise. Like my first couple of projects was just a nigga rapping. Like I'm the best rapper vibe, not a lot of content. I throw like 1 or 2 on it on purpose, right? That were definitely substance heavy. But I think I'm just getting started, dog. Like I definitely recognize that. I think what happens often, especially as we have conversations about hometown situations, right, and like the crib and home. I think I've had the luxury as a student of the game to be like ahead of the curve on what the masses do, right? But then I also can honestly and humbly reflect and say, whoa, while I might be ahead of the curve of what's happening here, I'm nowhere near what they're doing in other places. Right. Or what I deem like top-notch rap. And so through the many years, probably up until Grammy night, right? I was like, yo, okay, now
Classic.
I got some funk that, thank you, got some funk that can definitely hold with the Crits, the Wale's, like the things like that. And so I think now as an artist, I finally found my true voice and what I want to do as an artist in this moment, right? But to what I truly want to do, and that's why I say this shit just getting started. I'm a year and a half in making beats, 2 years into making beats. You know what I'm
Still
saying?
fresh,
And so,
you're a rookie.
Still fresh, you know what I'm saying? And so through that makes even my raps, my flows grow rather. Life experience will of course cause the content to change, but the flows growing. So yeah, we just at the like right there.
Do you think that sometimes when people place the veteran tag on you, that they're not giving you the attention that your music rightfully deserves? Like it's almost like they say that to get you out of the way.
What I've recognized,
Like they'll say, "Oh, Samuel David, oh, that's a vet. You know what I'm saying? That's a veteran in the city, but his time's over." More so to say, do you feel like people might come off like that?
nah, I think the beauty in music is that it's different strokes for different folks, right? And so you may have somebody, like my shit I'm not looking to be played in the club, right? I'm making album music. I want shit that you're gonna sit
Right.
and listen to. This ain't like no picking part of throw this on a playlist. Like this is a full body of work I want you to gather. Grammy night, a full body of work I want you to gather. And so with that, recognizing that I do it for me, and if the people love it, they love it. But then also, I think I don't know many folks bar for bar that want to go that route. You know what I'm saying? Like that would, for it to be just a dismissal because the quote unquote veteran status. I think what's happened, and the reason it may be veteran is because I've been doing it at a high level here at home, right, for such a long time with a heavy level of consistency, but lack of marketing likely reduced accomplishment. So it hasn't went everywhere else it needs to go. But I recognize that once that happens, people will be able to also, that haven't heard my new shit, or my old shit, will be able to sit back and be like, damn, this has really been fire for some time, right? And so while it may be like a veteran status to folks who just started here, I got a whole world that ain't heard me yet.
Definitely.
And so with that, I'm still brand new to them. I can't talk OG shit to people that don't even know me, right? Because that's more reflective or relative to home, right? And so I tend not to get caught up in that because it's me and LT was talking, we was doing his joint, and he was asking a question about like somebody like a Lil Yachty and how do different artists feel about stuff like that, right? And I love it because different people have different life experiences.
Right.
So Nas drops Illmatic at the age of 19 with a vast level of life experiences that shaped that entire project. I can't knock somebody like Lil Yachty that may not have had that experience to shape that project, whether it be 19 or 30 when that joint drops. Jay-Z drops Reasonable Doubt at 28, right? And it's, to me, arguably probably his second best body of work.
What's the first?
The first, it teeter-totters for me between Black Album and 444.
See, for me, Black Album is special.
Black Album
And I get criticized and crucified when I say that the Black Album to me is special because when Hov told me that this was it,
yeah,
I thought this was it.
and so it feels
So
different.
when he presented the project, I took it as this is it. So when I say I dissected and I just picked every little piece of that project that I could, that was my first time really sitting down and picking apart a project, was the Black Album.
Gotcha.
For me.
Yeah.
Because mind you, Black Album dropped 05, 04, 04, 05. I'm 12, 13 years old.
Word.
So,
I was in high school, I was senior.
you know what I'm saying? It means something different to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
and so even with that, so like I think of like 444, and we talk again veteran things. I think of like somebody like the 2 Chainz,
yeah.
who his peak started post 30.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think Jesus died at 33.
We had this conversation.
Came alive at 33. You know what I'm saying? So what I love about where music is at right now, even hip hop music, is there is space for adult contemporary rap.
Right.
There is space for cats that may be more mature in life that don't want to just strictly turn up or talk about gas. They might want to listen to something where they can rap and talk about their family, talk about their kids, talk about financial liberation, right? Different things like that. And so I appreciate veteran status or whatever we call it, but I also recognize that with the world not hearing me yet, I still got that to do, if that makes sense.
Do you think that the city would ever recognize a lyrical rapper as the best rapper?
I think best is so subjective.
Okay, let me say it like this. You aren't a club rapper. You're not.
I can make bangers though.
You can make a club hit, but your music isn't typically played out in the club. That's not your audience.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you, as the type of artist that you are, get the full recognition of the dope artist that you are? Because you just told me 5 minutes ago, there's very few in this city that want to go bar for bar with you. Do you think that has any weight or importance here in Wichita?
I don't think so. I think,
Cause I think if we're in the likes of, you know what I'm saying, New York, in the likes of a DC or even certain parts of California, I think Samuel David takes off. I think with the same type of rollout that Sound Advice had got, if it gets, all it takes is one person to hear it, and it's gone.
Definitely. And I think that just goes to the different strokes of folks. Like, even as people get on the internet in a local space and talk different levels of shit, right?
Yeah.
There's always like a pocket, like I was saying earlier, like there's a pocket of community that people miss out on. So you have your middle-aged black folks with families that tend to be listening to my music, right? You do have some youngsters that listen to my music, right? More male than female in a lot of spaces. And I think that's just because of my brand, right? But I don't know how much I care about, for one, being the best in Wichita.
I hope you don't.
I don't give a damn, because again, it's all subjective. I mean, there's people that, there's still arguments about, is Kobe better than Jordan, is LeBron better than Jordan? But then you watch a show like The Last Dance, you hear Kobe Bryant tell you there'd be no Kobe Bryant without Michael Jordan. So I think people are always gonna feel what they feel. Feelings are fleeting. But I think as long as my output matches the best that I feel I can do, I don't care about being the best. I used to definitely have a strong notion to want to be that nigga, right? And that was just from the cockiness of rap. And that's when niggas was rapping a little bit different even, right? But now I'm just putting out music that I want people to feel. I mean, I may come to another project where I'm talking some shit, and
we need those from time to time. We need those.
Bro, I tell you, and this is actually pretty funny. There's probably, and this isn't a slight to nobody, and I think oftentimes, like, I'll give people props and other people will take it as a slight. I think there's only two artists from Wichita
that come to mind
when I think, oh shit, let me step my shit up. And again, it's not a slight to nobody, right? And that's of course XV, because he's like on a whole different plane of thought processes. But Blake Warrior, like, watching that young man put words together, it's like, yo,
fire.
This nigga's dope. Like, I can step back and sit as a fan and listen to his shit. Or it makes me feel like, yo, let me go sharpen my pen. And so,
which he doesn't use.
Which is even crazy. No, but I think it varies. We all got different processes. What the piece of that though is their music sounds nothing like Wichita music.
Nope.
right? And so I think that's a big piece of it too that inspires and motivates me. Is like, yo, here's two dope artists that also haven't fell inside this thing. Like, talk Wichita music. Can you tell me what would you Rello, point proven RELL-ism? What would you define as Kansas or Wichita hip hop?
Me personally?
What would you, like, if you had to describe hip hop in Wichita to somebody, how would you describe it?
Bay Area Junior.
Okay. And now, in that, is that because, why that? I don't want to assume. Why is that?
You could make an argument that SE Trill has one of the biggest influences in the city.
Mm-hmm.
It was a point where SE Trill was the peak. You weren't an artist until you got an SE Trill beat. Mm-hmm. When I listen to SE Trill, and this is no knock against SE Trill, because you know I got mad love for you, I hear a Bay Area influence. Me and Troy have had this conversation before.
Let me ask this. When you listen to Volume 2, mm-hmm. do you hear any Bay Area influence? Mm-mm. So that's kind of what I'm almost deducted to, because Trill produced all but 3 tracks on that album. Yep. Right? And I think Trill has the great ability to meet the artists where they are, right? And elevate the sound from there. So what I think happens, I think that people put Wichita in this Bay Area box, or this mob music box, because 2 to 3 of our, like, most respected artists have a sound that's mobby, mm-hmm. right? From your Smooth, YBM Smooth, shout out to Smooth.
To the 8-0s, to the Hollywood Dre, the works.
Well, I was gonna go to Eddie Coley even, right? But the funny thing in that is that when you peel it back, it ain't even a Bay Area sound.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Like, Smooth is hella mutable, and Smooth can bounce on any type of track.
You're right.
And he's gonna give you any type of track. 8-0, his sound is actually heavily sample based. Like, some of his biggest hits are samples.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then even when you look at like AD, I don't know his whole situation right now, but when you listen to AD, I get more Rick Ross vibes. Like the flow patterns, things like that, right? And so
I can't wait for this interview to end, because we finna debate.
And so I always find it funny when people do say it's like a mob sound. I think there's like 1 or 2 songs that people have latched onto, and so they look at like a rich factor, like, oh, they sound like that. And it's like, no, they not the full body, right? And so I think the joy in that is that we don't sound like nobody, Wichita. Like, again, because you mentioning 3 or 4 artists that may have a Bay Area sound. Krim don't sound like the Bay. XV don't sound like the Bay. Plain Buquette don't sound like the Bay. Chaos don't sound like the Bay.
No.
I don't sound like the Bay. Blake Warrior don't sound like the Bay. Lucid don't sound like the Bay. YBM Steel don't sound like the Bay. Cliff didn't sound like the Bay. I'm missing a few artists, and I don't want to be disrespectful, because I often find myself in a space where artists really feel validation in me mentioning their names. But even just that 9, no Bay Area sound.
Right.
And so I think the beauty in Wichita, and again, even circling back to the best thing, is there is no defined energy that comes from here, because there's so many different genres. Maurice Anthony don't sound like the Bay. Chris Barnett don't sound like the Bay.
But
I don't know, man. I don't
see. You're naming artists that are, one, they're either dope and they get recognized off the rip, or they don't get recognized at all. Mm-hmm. Those are names that you named off. You named off some of the highest, like you named off the Plainviews, you named off the Blakes, and to be honest, Blake just got in that conversation.
But he came in that motherfucker hard.
He came in
that conversation carrying his weight.
He came in that conversation how he was presented in the conversation.
That's all we can do with it, right?
Because that has been there.
Definitely.
That's been there this entire time.
Lack of marketing likely reduced accomplishment.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. We have to get off this conversation, because I'm gonna disrespect a few niggas if we keep going into this conversation.
It's your words, not mine.
So
But no, but just to circle back real quick, I think that's the thing though, is the mass of people that have heavy energy and that are interactive and engaged social media or the club, they support the artists that the first three we talked about, from the smooth 80 ADs, right? So then it seems to sound like that's the only sound, because this, of the 100% of the population of Wichita, Kansas we have, I want to say like 7.4 is African American, or minority, and even smaller than that is black, in this big ass city. And so then it's easy for this to be the voice of the people when it's the only people that's speaking. But if you were to ask somebody like Jay Long, or ask somebody like Royce at the radio, right, they're gonna have a completely different opinion of what the sound sounds like, because they're able to pull from different sources of what they think the music is. And so I think that's the beauty in Wichita, is that we're able to pull from so many different climates and genres and cultures and create what we have.
Select few.
So that's fine.
Because in my opinion, and this people can take it however way they want. In the matter of that, I think that Wichita has a tendency of the actual artists. To me, you'll see it get recognized. So for instance, like, you know, like you said, the smooths or the 80s and stuff like that, that gets recognized. But then, and this goes for like this generation, this generation to me is a lot of mimicking other rappers.
Oh, 100%. I think it's more.
That's an issue that I think Wichita has in itself, is that a lot of Wichita artists are trying to be other artists.
See, these might be people I don't even listen to or know about.
But they're out here.
But I think they everywhere too. Like the local conversation, and this isn't even just music, I think the local conversations always crack me up, because people are people. But here in Wichita, we have, it's like 2 degrees of separation. So I know at least 7 people you know, like just off the strength. And I think that's what happens there. I don't pay attention to the shit that gets in the way.
Gotcha.
And I think that's also what hinders perspective for the town often, is because people sit so much and talk about the shit that's whack or the bullshit without truly respecting. Like, Menace Law pops in my head even, right? Menace Law sounds like nobody I've ever heard. He might have one of the big, during his thing, he had probably one of the biggest followings in the town, right? I wouldn't say it was heavy black folks though. It's white folks. They fucking love Menace Law. Right, and so just the different pockets of people we have, I think are what put people on the forefront. The Black Twitter thing is such a real thing, and I think we truly have like a Black social network where it's only like a pocket of people that are talking, but it seems like that's everybody's opinion. Right. Versus, yo, what's over here and what's over here. Yeah.
Give me an example, because we done got into this.
I like this conversation.
Example.
I love music. I love the.
Heavy is a dope artist here.
Definitely.
Heavy is a special artist. You could argue. You could say.
What makes Heavy special?
You could say. Hold on. You could say that Sam is more lyrical than Heavy.
I'm sure.
You could say Freddie High is more lyrical than Heavy. Definitely. Right? From what I'm watching, I'm seeing a lot more of this new generation coming, trying to sound like Hev than I'm hearing a Freddie High or a Sam. And that's no disrespect or taking credit away from you guys.
Definitely.
But that's what I mean when I say we have to find that sound. Because when I say that the bass sound, I was like, okay, well, this is the bass sound, that's what everybody's going for. I can guarantee you the beats that you're getting from Trill's not playing them beats for everybody.
We making them on scratch. We making them from scratch together.
But Trill has a whole folder with those West Coast samples in there.
Or that's what people is asking for.
And that
they wanna.
Everybody and their moms wants that. Because to them in their mind, that's the sound.
But does everybody and their mama matter.
No,
That's
no.
So that's the where I rest my laurels on, right? Like, yo, I said something to Bray one time, and it was an opinion I had, and he fixed it for me fast. But I was like, yo, a lot of these videos, these niggas is getting in the way. And Bray was like, I do it for the love of my city, like off the rip. Like if I can provide this service to the people, I'm gonna provide it. And it gave me perspective. Because at first I was like, man, he's just shooting. I don't even gonna see this rapper next week. But then I found myself like, why focus on this piece? And I think that's what happens too often, because you could probably name to me 5 rappers who sound like Heavy, and I would have no clue who they are. But I'm sure somebody listens, right? Because the kids consume music different these days. But what makes Heavy special?
What makes Heavy special? Excuse me. I think what makes Heavy special is that no matter where Heavy goes, Heavy is who everybody's eyes is on. Heavy has the attention of people, whether that's, his personality, whether that's the size, whether that's just the energy, anything. Heavy is going to get recognized. But then the thing that I think makes Heavy special is that Heavy didn't get started in the music situation until later in life. So Heavy starts doing music later, starts figuring out how to write music. Like this what you're seeing from Heavy, this is just starting 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Without any type of buzz, without any type of push or anything like that, Heavy goes home and creates Straight Outta Kansas. You could argue that was the biggest song of his time.
Gotcha.
Of that time period. No, not trying. He literally made that song saying, I need to release some music. And it ends up being his biggest song. That to me is what makes Heavy special.
I can respect it. I got you. Okay. That's what I was just wondering. Because, every time we label somebody special, I got to know what makes that particular person.
Got you. There's a couple people that y'all classify as special that I'm like,
give me names. Let me hear.
Nope.
Let me hear.
Nope, because the last time I said some shit like this, Troy had to schedule meetings.
Got you. Okay, that's fair.
Nope.
But and again, I think that goes to the popcorn culture we have now, right? Where I can hear an album immediately and tell you if it's a classic or not. Nigga, when the Source was handing out 5 mics, they needed like a month or ahead advance to really dissect it, right? Like Tijuana wrote a review up on Sound Device. I sent it to her, and that same day she had the review ready. And I had to ask her, like, yo, you sure you don't want to sit on this?
This is off of emotion. This is off of emotion right there, feeling.
You don't want to sit on this a little bit longer, because I think there's some things you may not have caught in there, right? And I think just now we digest stuff so fast that sometimes we label stuff special that's not special.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
And that's with anything, right? As fast as we watch Netflix shows, we have an opinion immediately about shit. And so that's why I always ask, like, what makes somebody special? Because to me, special is like, if you say some shit is special, it's special. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I Jordan Lattimore.
Special.
You
know how we have conversations and we say like, okay, like these are dope rappers or these are dope creatives, and then we say like, it's like an aliens list. It's like a list, it's like you're not normal. It's like that it's different. Jordan Lattimore.
Jordan Lattimore's on that list for me.
I've said, me and 4 Times have said going on 2 years now.
Yeah.
Lattimore could possibly be the one.
Lattimore he's different.
He's special.
And it's not only the level of talent, it's the way certain people carry their talent, right? Like XV, special. Cliff was special. I would say YBM Smooth is special.
Yes.
Right? Like different things. It takes time for somebody to be special. Right? Like I always remember hearing them talk about how 50 Cent DMX the game. And that's something that truly made him special, because he came in at a time where everything was lovey-dovey. Everybody was in love. I Need a Girl, all them songs. But he came in with mad aggression, and it shifted.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know too many people here in town that shift culture. for them to truly, like, if we're gonna say they special, like, you gotta truly inspire, motivate, and shift culture. I can humbly, I'm a special type of nigga, right? And that just comes from years of being able to be in conversation, to maintain a level of consistency,
right,
and authenticity that doesn't waver on what's going on. But I also watch niggas watch my moves and copy moves. So I would say that's something that definitely puts me in a special category.
1,000.
And so that's my piece there. So
Okay.
I'd hang there forever. And we, like you said, some rappers would start getting offended, or I'd start sounding like the cocky guy, and I'm really just chilling. God is dope, man. Y'all see that? God is so dope.
You funny. So it takes a special person to make a song such as Tiffany's Story.
Word.
That's not an average Joe.
It's a real, yeah.
Walk me through the process of creating that story.
Observation. Like, really, like, that story is loosely based on reality. I mean, it's reality, but it's loosely based on different individuals, right?
Tiffany's not an actual person.
She's not an actual person.
Tiffany is a face for multiple
She's a gatherer of different situations.
Got you,
right?
got you.
But like, it's like partner beefing with his baby, like, that's such a real thing. Like, we all have got, it's just real. I was just writing one day and I was like, man, this is what we be going through. In the barbershop, talking with my mans and them, and he just telling me about the situation with his baby mama. And I share my reality and things I went through, and from there that sparks Tiffany's story, right? But then you really think, like, yo, you always see the end result of shit, but it's never like, yo, how do we get here? So you may see, like, the woman that's wilding out, or may have loose ethics or morals, or the dude that's not in his kid's life for whatever reason, but you never know what happens in between there. And so I thought it was pretty important to create something that shows, like, yo, there's so many ins and outs to what happens here before we get to this, right? I mean, funny thing is, the friend in the beginning of Tiffany's story is actually Johnny from Tic Tac Toe, right? And so,
can I listen to those back to back and catch that?
If you listening close, I got a partner always beefing with his baby mama. It's constant drama, right? At the end of Tiffany's story, what up, Jay? I'm on the phone with Jay, right? And it flashes. It's the phone conversation is the piece where he pulls up to the baby mama's crib, and he's telling me, like, what's about to go down, right?
Are we making this a movie?
I mean, hey,
Are we making this a short film?
We may make things happen. But the story in Tiffany's story, right, even that, right, so now you have Tiffany's stepdad, who too often, right, molestation and sexual abuse on children is such a real thing, right?
So much a real thing. More
how
than we
did
know.
he get to where he's at?
Right.
Right? How did the mom get to where she's at, to where she don't give a fuck about what's going on she's dealing with? So that's the point of Tiffany's story, is I want people to really, like, digest this and be like, man, perspective is a motherfucker. Like, we go through life, we place blame on different individuals, and in the moments when life-changing things happen, we don't recognize it. I give it away even before the next joints come out, right? But, like, even where I talk about Tiffany's stepdad ain't never met his kids. You got Joe Jr. out here doing the extras. That could easily be his seed that he never met. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different things in there. The writing style actually was inspired. Meet the Parents by Jay-Z is one of my favorite songs. And his writing in there is so heavy. And the song pretty much alludes to a father killing his son because he didn't know that was his son. Right? It's heavy joint. Lupe Fiasco got a joint called He Say, She Say.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs, where the song is just a perspective of the kid first, then the mom. Like, but it's the same exact words. Like, I love that type of storytelling. Brenda's Got a Baby, like, different things like that. Like, I really love to write and create stories. So that's where Tiffany's story came from.
Got you.
It's actually going to be on volume 2, but it didn't finish.
What do you mean it didn't finish?
Tiffany's story. I started writing that song in 2017 when I released, but it just didn't hit how I wanted it to hit.
Got you.
And so.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing I think that me and you relate the most is that you said it earlier, is that I wasn't a street nigga, but I was in the streets. You know, I know what's going on in the streets.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to be the killer when I know who the killer is. You know what I'm saying? That's the way life goes. My question for you, and I have to make sure I say this right.
Okay.
What change do you want to see in our community? And what change do you need to see in our community?
I don't think I'm at the authority for what we need, right? Because everybody's got different needs.
But you come from a different perspective.
Definitely.
Your perspective of what we might need as a community might be different than me, might be different than Troy's, because you've lived a different life.
That's why I would stick it to want, right? Some things I would definitely want to see in our community. First off, I think we're the only community demographic that that has to rest on our community, right? I don't know that other communities are having the same conversation.
Do you think it's that we rest on it, or do you think that we're the only ones that bring it up because the others is more of a natural way of life?
Nah, I think it's not only, I think we bring it up, I think it's also a picture that's painted for us.
Because we always like to say like, oh, well, you see how the Chinese community, how they stick, to their own and how they carry their community. Look how successful they're doing. Look at the money they're bringing in for their community. The Jewish community, how they stick, to their community. Black people, we like to use those as examples because it's almost like we have to tell each other that we're on the same team.
I think a lot of that comes from, it's just systematic. A lot of it's rooted in systematic and mental conditioning and emotional conditioning, psychological conditioning. I think a lot of it really stems from survival, right? I don't know the full story. I want to be careful in how I even speak it, but I know like when Jewish folks came over to America, they came as community on their own will. And from there, they created community, right? Asian Americans created community. We never really had a moment.
No, we didn't get to come over and just create.
Like where we started cultivating, right? It came from other things, and when we did create things like your Black Wall Streets, right? Different things like that, they were destroyed immediately, right? And so something that I would want to see is definitely more appreciation for what Black folks bring to the world, right? American history is Black history. Black history is American history in that same respect, right? So respect there. I'd also like to see a space where we recognize the standards we hold to each other and critique in private and praise in public, or shut the fuck up in public. You know what I'm saying? I think there is this knack where oftentimes, just because we have different ways of wanting to achieve a goal, our goals can be the same, but we're now going to stifle each other's progress because you're not trying to get it the same way I'm trying to get it.
Right.
When in reality, we all aiming for the same thing. I love to see more appreciation and respect towards family, right? Towards pouring into the youth. And these are things that in pockets are definitely happening, right? So I definitely got to.
One step at a time.
One step at a time, man. And I would also love to see a level of grace offered to each other as a culture, as a community.
I like that.
We don't really offer grace where we may mess up. Hold each other accountable for sure. But then also the respect for elders. I think there's so much game that was given, game that sits in our elders that it's easy to subside because it didn't work for you. Now look, we're still in the same situation, but not recognizing the means and resources we have. But then also, like I said, letting the youth live. And it's a lot. Even if I think to like local pieces, right? People being more involved in local legislation and local laws that are being passed, local meetings that are going on, servicing in those different areas. Oftentimes have people hit me up wanting to start something because we don't have something, and I realize now we already have it, right? So just people being able to recognize if it's not broke, don't fix it. How can you then align and elevate, cultivate things that are already popping versus now? I went to a meeting a couple years ago. It was a meeting, it was at St. Mark, and there were elders. It wasn't a church meeting, it was a community meeting. There were elders speaking, and there were the new generation speaking, and all you got was this, right? It was just constantly here, saying the same exact things, but it turned into an argument about how we see things versus what we want to get done. And I think that's how we win. Recognizing our power in situations, right? Cameron was always talking diversity and just being black in corporate world, right? And just how we navigate those things. Man, it's heavy. I don't have like a 5-step program.
But see, I wanted to ask you that because like I've witnessed, you know what I'm saying, what you try and bring to the community. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know, you know, me, you, and 4 times, you know, we went to the juvenile detention center, you know, and spoke to, you know, the youth and, you know, just try to be that positive light for them. And then, you know, I heard later on, it's like, that guy that you brought, Sam, he's been a couple times. You know what I'm saying? Like just checking in with, you know, the kids and stuff like that or whatever, trying to be that positive influence. So I thought, you know, if there's anybody that I wanted to ask that question, I honestly wanted that opinion from, it would be from you. Because you know I got that much love and respect
That's
for you.
love in real life.
Always.
I would say the biggest thing, even as we talk spiritual piece, I think the biggest thing is being everything you want the world to be.
Facts.
And being conscious of what you want the world to be. I can't name off certain actions, but it starts with how you think, because how you think is what you believe, and what you believe is how you act. And so I think a lot of times it's just really like, yo, what should I do in this situation? Not what feels good.
What should I do?
What should be done? Treating people with respect, even when they may not deserve that shit, right? Just doing what's right because it's right, not to receive anything. And I think that small spark changes so much, man. Like a candle loses nothing when it lights another candle. It's such a real thing. And so just giving flowers while people are alive, and through that you give people power, right? And so if we having offline conversations and I'm being sincere and telling you how dope the shit you're doing, I'm hoping that it's landing in a way that you receive it and that you want to continue to catapult what you're doing and incorporate different things into it from just the entertainment perspective, right? But also community perspective. And so if people can take those things and let it drive their results in life, we win. But I also recognize that for us as black people to be as fucking dope as we are, we have to go through the ringer. Like I don't think we come out as dope as we are without the pressure that the world gives us. I mean, in reality, I really believe like America's joy is like black man's anxiousness and anxiety, right? Like they really feed off our mental health and respect from constantly showing videos on TV of traumatic experiences, people getting shot, you know what I'm saying? Police brutality, and they know what the fuck they're doing in that. And so recognizing in that do we become diamonds or do we let the pressure bust the pipe? You know what I'm saying? And yeah.
I like that.
I can go forever on that.
I know you can. So that was my final question for you.
Word.
I thought that I'll give you a chance because you know me a lot better than a lot of people that I sit down with. Do you have any questions for me? I've never given anybody this chance.
What's your mission? You know, every sound business, every sound, everything has like a mission or a vision. What's your mission?
My mission, and I just had a conversation about this. My mission is to, I feel, use talents that I enjoy using to the highest and the best of their ability.
Word.
I also, I want to be able to, because a lot of people feel like, oh, like he has his opinions and stuff like that or whatever. I feel like my opinion actually does have weight to it.
Word.
Whether people agree with it or not. And that's just my personal take. That's why I share with you my opinion.
100.
But I want to be able to express myself how I want, but also be able to bring some of those with me. Okay. So like example, of course I want to work for a higher business. I would love to be a part of Complex. I would love to be, you know what I'm saying, a part of iHeart and stuff like that. Word. But on top of like that being a goal, I also want to be able to say that, you know what, you see that guy Rello right there that works for such and such? Oh, well, he's from Wichita, Kansas. Whereas Wichita, Kansas is in the middle of the map. He done put me on these artists that are from this city. Word. And bridge that gap.
I like that energy. It's yours, man. It's
That's
yours.
what I try. I'm just trying to make sure that.
Hey, man, ain't no trying in life.
By the time it's all said and done, 316 is gonna run the world.
That's
you know
a
what
fact.
I'm saying? So.
That's a fact.
Sam, I really appreciate your time, man. I'm almost glad that it worked out this way. That you know we got to have a part 2, sort of say, because I feel like this got a lot deeper than the last conversation. Pause.
A lot more intense.
But
pause. Yo, I got to go back to that try thing though. That's like a thing I tell my kids and even people I work with. Like, stop saying try. Cause like if I handed you a piece of paper,
as soon as I said it, I knew that I fucked up. Because me and you had a conversation and I said that and you was like, Rello, what the fuck? Try. You're like, nah, like next time you say it, I want to hear you say what you're gonna do it.
Real shit, man. It's the power in words, man. Whether you say it's prayer, words, affirmation, law of attraction, but like don't try nothing, cause you rather do it without the desired results. But like I could legit hand you a piece of paper and tell you to try to rip the paper. You gonna rip that shit or not rip it? Ain't no such thing as try. So
funny story. And this is how we gonna end. Okay. So my biggest interview to date is Greg the Hitman Williams.
Okay.
And
shout out to the Hitman.
Definitely shout out to the Hitman. So I'm in the process of trying to put together RELL-ism again, because at this point I did a few interviews and I feel like RELL-ism wasn't being pushed or it wasn't running the proper way. Okay. And so I had a conversation with Troy, and Troy is like, well, there's no better time than now than to, you know, do what you need to do. Word. Just so happens that me and you have a conversation. It's like a couple nights later, and you call me and you're like, Rello, why are you associating yourself with these niggas? Rello, if you gonna do an interview, it better be with somebody that I feel is at that level. Word. And so you just asked me, you was like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I'm gonna try. And that's where that conversation came. And you said, nah, you're gonna do this shit. Yeah. And you're like, I don't care how many times I gotta tell you, you're gonna do this shit. Well, a couple days later, Troy's like, who you interviewing for RELL-ism? I sent him a message back and I said, Greg Williams. Yeah. He says, wow. I didn't even get the interview yet. Word. I send that message off of the strength of that conversation. That's heavy. And the rest is history. That's heavy. So you always special to me, Sam. That's heavy. I feel like you can't mention Wichita hip hop without mentioning Big Sam, King Sam. And I also feel like I'm never going to not recognize Sam when I mention Wichita hip hop. Or hip hop in general. Hip hop in general. Because I'm still listening to Sound Advice and I have not gone back to Drake's project yet. That's heavy. So that's real shit.
Can I part with this? Because I hate localizing anything. I strongly encourage anybody that does media in any way, shape, or form to eliminate the Wichita hip hop conversation, right? Because we minimize ourselves. Yes. Right? Because Wichita is one of the largest cities in Kansas, but Kansas is one of the smallest states in America, right? I definitely recognize we probably have the best talent per capita than anywhere else, with us being as small as we are. But then that limits the conversation to just Wichita. Like, I truly believe I'm one of the best artists in the world. Period. Right? I recognize the folks I mentioned before, like XV's different. XV is an artist that's on the level of the world, Blake Warrior, right? Different folks. And we got to stop. It's no more local, because with this phone, now we connect to the whole world. Facts. Right? I look at my Spotify streams and I'm connecting to so many different countries, right? And so, fuck that. I love Wichita, but fuck that, the pronoun of Wichita XYZ. Like, nah, we artists, we entertainers, we curators of culture. Right, I might be from. Are you a Wichita rapper, or are you a rapper from Wichita? I'm a rapper that's just from Wichita. That's the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. So that's my piece on that. Yeah. Everybody, I appreciate y'all tuning in for another episode of RELL-ism, and I'm here with my man Samuel David, aka Big Sam, King Sam. I still call him this no matter what. He's always gonna be King Sam to me. So thank you for everybody tuning in with us, and hope to see you again. Much love.